Hey, how's it going and welcome along. I'm Rory from Rate My Funeral. That was Rate, by the way. So welcome along to today's video, and it's an exciting one because today the wonderful people at Revopoint have sent me a brand new 3D scanner. And this is it, the Revopoint INSPIRE 2. And I've been super lucky because they've sent me the premium edition that comes with the mobile kit. Now this thing promises to turn real-world objects into fully digital 3D models, and I'm going to find out if it actually lives up to the hype. Now before I open it up and get it out of the box and find out what's actually going on inside here, here's a few of the claims that it makes. So it's got accuracy down to 0.03 millimeters, which is tiny, and it can scan using infrared lasers or structured light, depending on what it is you're scanning. Now apparently it also handles shiny or dark surfaces better than most other scanners, and that's something that I've kind of always struggled with in the past. That will be really interesting to see if it does improve over that. It's wireless and it connects over Wi-Fi 6 or USB, and it's light. Apparently it weighs around about 190 grams. The RGB camera means that it can grab color and texture too, so it's not just geometry that you're scanning. And with the mobile kit, it's supposed to work just as well outside in bright light, up to around 20,000 lux, I think, which I guess means that as long as it's not the surface of the sun, you should be fine. That might be a bit bold, but we'll find out. No, we won't find out because that would suggest I'm going to scan the surface. No, scrap that bit. I also noticed it does mention about ND filters on the website, so I guess that's going to help with that kind of thing anyway. Right, so here's the plan. First, we'll get it all set up here in the office and do a quick test scan like I always do. Then I'll attach the mobile kit, and depending on what the glorious UK weather is like today, we'll head on outside and see if we can find something to scan out there. That should give us a good idea of how it performs out in the real world. And if this thing is really as portable and accurate as it said, it could be a proper useful little bit of kit to have in the arsenal. And for just over £400 for the premium one, it is pretty well priced. So if it does live up to their claims, then it's for sort of anyone doing 3D printing, design work, or honestly, if people like me just want to scan random objects just because it's fun. All right, let's open the box. So I might have gone a little bit overboard with the cameras in this video, because obviously I have you up here, then I also have you down here, and then I thought, why not add a little dude up here so that you can see down into the box I'm opening? And obviously if you're familiar with the channel, you might notice that my office, I've done a bit of reorganization, and that's because I've been concentrating a lot on game development recently, working on a little game, Ragdoll's Physics Experiments. It's a good fun little project, but it meant that I had to change my room around a little bit. Hopefully that's still all right with you, and that this will help see down here. And of course, if I need to come around and get sort of up close and personal, I'll talk to you over here. Don't worry, I won't do it too much. I know it's a little bit creepy. Anyway, let's get this thing open. Come on, we're doing that thing. Full, come on. That was the box, by the way. There we go. Right, so we have a premium felt top in the box. Let's see, I like to go through and see what we get. So we've got a little manual. We have some little sticky spots. The tripod, which looks, yeah, decent quality, nice tripod. Oh yeah, it's nice and adjustable. You can see we can move the legs around, and I know that you came here to find out all about the tripod that gets included. So here's how the tripod leg works. You press a little button and you can extend it. It's content like this that keeps you coming back, right? Okay, so we've got here we've got, I'm guessing these are the ND filters, outdoor filters. So whether they're ND or not, I mean, I assume they must be, right? The standard turntable that you get with all of these, all the cables, and then this is the scanner itself. Oh, it's a nice color. I'll bring it to you over here because then you can see a little bit better, but check that out. It's got a kind of champagne silver color about it. It's really small. Like I was expecting this to be, I mean, look at the picture. This thing looks like it's gonna be a big old beast. It's not, it's only little. It's a little dinky. If you've ever seen that film, Batteries Not Included, it reminds me of that. Comment if you've seen that, I bet you no one comments. There's a single button on the back. We've got the USBC connector plus the screw-in mounts to keep the cable so it's locked in place, and then the 1/4" thread on the bottom, and the host of different lenses and so on. And I'm guessing, ooh, there's a velvet pouch. Oh, it's a glass bed. Oh, it's a calibration board. Don't scratch the board. I mean, it's just a big piece of glass with lots of dots on it, but apparently it's a calibration board. And it comes in a beautiful velvet baggie. So let's get that all tidied away. That was the box again. The mobile kit I will save until we do with gonna save the mobile kit until we actually do the going outside-y bit of the video.
Now these things are super easy to set up. Literally, you connect the USB-C into the back and you tighten it up like that. They don't have a separate power or anything like that. And then you plug that into, oh God, it's USB-C to USB-C, of course. I'm gonna need an adapter. So that's something to consider. If you don't have a machine with a USB-C port available, then you will need an adapter, which I hope will still work. So we're gonna find out if that's true. So at this point in the video, I just wanna quickly highlight, for full transparency, as I mentioned before, Revopoint did send me this scanner, but it is a completely unbiased review from my point of view. I'm honest in all of my videos. One of the things to bear in mind when you're 3D scanning objects is it's actually quite hard to do. There's a little bit of an art to it as well, because objects aren't all inherently scannable. For example, things that have got really shiny areas or translucency, they will typically not scan very well. So you have to do things to prep them. So you can do things like using various powders or sprays to improve your chances of getting a good scan. Now the technology helps and it is clearly getting better. And I'm really curious to see if this one helps that even more. But you have to bear in mind that a bit like when I talk about 3D printing, you can't always expect it just to work straight out of the box. However, it's clearly got better. Bamboo Labs printers are the things that have made that really, really close. And scanners, I feel, are on a similar kind of journey, but again, you're always going to be restricted to light conditions and issues to things like that. So if you want to get into 3D scanning, just bear in mind that you do need to learn how to do it. Do not expect to just get a scanner and just be scanning everything and it's amazing. But it is really good fun learning. Trust me on that one. Now, as is always the way, my USB-C port is broken for some reason. It's just not detecting anything. So I need to use an adapter. I'm hoping the adapter is going to work. We'll find out about that. As is the law of sod, I've managed to find the adapter, but it's the wrong way around. So this converts from the standard USB to USB-C. And then I found a second one of them. So I've got two of the wrong one. Okay, so I've had a little bit of a nightmare. It's not the scanner's fault. It's my PC has decided that the USB-C port doesn't want to play ball and I have no adapters. And I have a feeling, I have a sneaky suspicion that you can't use an adapter with it anyway, because I suspect it can't get the throughput. I don't know. If I can try that, I will test it. But at the moment, I don't have any way to test it. So workaround for the moment is that I've rigged up the laptop over here. And then on the main PC, I'm using AnyDesk to connect to it. So hopefully between all of this somewhat crazy setup, I can plug in the scanner into the laptop and then try and do my first scan. It is possible to connect the scanner via Wi-Fi. So I could do it with Wi-Fi into the PC, but I don't want to start there, you see. I'll try that later. I want to start with the absolute basic. You plug it in and I want to see what happens. Now the software is Revo Metro, which I don't believe I've ever played with before. So I am going to run that now. I've already downloaded it and installed it on the laptop. So let's jump in there and see what that's like. So first of all, we need to choose which scanner we've got, which is an Inspire 2. Which is great. This laptop is very powerful, so I've got no worries about the power required. Ah, yes, excellent. It's even recommended, apparently. Right. It's recommended as in, do you want to use CPU for rendering or do you want to use GPU? That's what it means by recommended. Okay, great. So yeah, we'll apply that. Also connect the scanner. So we're going to do that next. So we will pop this into the USB-C port. Okay, it's detected it. We have lights on the back. Just there, look, do you see? Scanner connecting. Connected. There we go. Scanner settings. Oh, there's a settings button. Always have to press the settings button. There's no settings there. Forget the settings button. So we're going to do a new project. Now, what have I got to scan? I've got this guy here. So again, I mentioned before, the game that I'm working on is called Ragdoll's Physics Experiments, and it's all around these guys and inflicting damage and pain to them in that kind of fun, humoristic way. So I thought it would be fun to try scanning this guy and see how it comes out. So we're going to place him on our little turntable here. I'm going to plug this into USB. He's now gently spinning. All right, we've got to choose where we're going to place it. I'm just going to use the default location, whatever, don't care. Just want to start. There we go, we can see him. And the distance appears to be, yeah, around about there. Okay, so we're going to press start. And as I say, this is just literally straight out of the box. You get a bit of a hand in there. We'll get a bit of that little plinth that it's on. A little bit shaky. Okay, right, so that's all of that. Slowly. We are missing chunks of his head and bits of that arm, so we can try. So we've got that little bar over there. We need to try and keep that into the excellent area. Oh, right, we'll get up high here because we'll get that. Oh, don't lose him. Too near. There we go, we got him back. Right, I think we might be good with it now. So we're gonna press complete. And what have we got? We've got a bit of a mess, but it's there. I suspect this could be quite tidy. There's a few little gaps on the undersides of the arms. So I wonder, I press resume, I can possibly do that. Again, don't forget, I just literally just pressed go. I didn't set anything, didn't change anything at all. Let's go resume and let's see if it can find him again. This is something that often I see these struggle with is finding them, and there we go. Let's see, it's just snapped straight back. So that's actually really good. Other scanners have often struggled to kind of rematch there, but it worked pretty well, although I've lost it again. There we go, we found him again. Okay, so that is a couple of scans on him. Now it does look a bit messy, but we're pretty good with that. Now we've got a one-click button, so that does everything in one click. So typically you don't really want to be using these one-click things. When you're scanning something, you need to make sure it's all done, but do you know what? Let's find out, let's see what this does. All right, estimated time, 4 minutes. All right, there we go. Oh, look at that. Look, I did miss a little bit, but wow, that looks good. Yes, oh dear, poor little guy. That looks good, right? In terms of the scan quality, this looks great. Big bit missing. Of course, I didn't hold it above his head. The areas that I did scan though have come out really, really quite well. As a very, very first test, just giving it a try straight out of the box, that's not bad results actually. You know, this guy, I would say he's a good example because he does have a bit of shine about him, but he's still relatively easy in terms of as a scan. I would expect this one to work quite well. On my previous Revopoint ones, you used to always get this little bust. I usually do those, but they are the absolute perfect. They're this perfect matte color that's really good for scanning. Whereas this guy, he's good for scanning, but he does have a bit of a sheen about him. He's not what I would call perfect, but he's right up there. You know, a lot easier than some things. But overall, that came out really quite well. So let's move on to the next thing to try. And that is this mobile kit. Let's open this up. What do we get in the mobile kit? Phone holder, that's gonna be the connector. This, which I believe, yes, this is a battery handle. So this has a small battery in it, meaning that you can power the device from here. So you go USB-C to there, and then do you go USB-C? Oh, this has got a slightly crazy cable. Okay, so this has got a cable that's got USB-C for one end for the scanner, and then at this end, it's got both the USB-C plus the standard USB. So assembly is going to be relatively straightforward, I would imagine. We're going to go something like this. Okay, so this is our little setup here. There's a button on the front there. If we press that, I don't know if you can see. Yep, we should be able to. There's some lights that come on. That's your battery level. We're just connected into the back of the scanner there, and then into the back of the handle there. So we are now good to go. We can put our phone in here. Problem is I'm using my phone up to there at the moment for this camera. Anyway, actually, we're going to go on a little field trip now because we're going to go outside and see if we can find something to scan outside. Okay, so I have now connected everything up. I've got the scanner running. It's running in Wi-Fi mode because I'm using an iPhone. This is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It doesn't support the cable, but it does support Wi-Fi. I think you have to have an Android phone to be able to use it with the cable, but it's working with Wi-Fi. And as you can see, it's connecting and working absolutely fine. I thought what would be quite interesting was I've just picked up a new toy and I spotted something underneath the bonnet or hood if you're American. Firstly, how pretty is that engine? I'm not being funny, but that is gorgeous, right? For a 10-year-old car, that is incredibly clean. Anyway, it's this bit here that we're going to look at. This is the top of the suspension and the dust cap for it has broken. Here we can see the plastic clips. Someone's obviously tried to take this off without pushing something in there. And what that means is I can't put this one on. The one on the other side is absolutely perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the area this came from. Then I'm going to scan this. I'm going to make sure everything is all in line and do the repair in 3D. And then I'm going to 3D print a replacement for it. So we'll give that a try. A bit of trouble getting the detail inside the actual strut itself, so I've tried enabling this light mode to see if that helps. Now, hopefully that's worked. Now what we can see is if we move this around, we do have the shape and the area, which is good. So I'm going to press the one tap edit again. And now I'm going to let that do its thing while I head back off indoors. Okay, so that was scanning inside the engine bay in the car, which was, to be fair, not particularly bright because it's early evening here and it's the UK in October, so therefore it was all grey. There's not a lot I can do about that. But using this with the phone connected to it was really nice in terms of, you know, the feel and the maneuverability and portability and all of that kind of jazz. It was good. So that is a plus for doing that. And before we carry on, we're going to also scan the piece itself
itself. So that way I have a scan of the area it goes in and the piece itself, and it gives me a much better chance of recreating this piece, either designing a whole new one using the area that I scanned outside, or if I can scan this one, I can see what's broken, I might be able to fix the model itself. So I'm gonna try that. And this, again, this is the beauty of it, is you try different things and hopefully you come up with a good solution. The piece itself is a little bit dark. So what I'm thinking is I'll brush on a little bit of white powder onto it, and then hopefully that'll help it stand out.
You should probably use a face mask or something as well with this. It's probably not good to inhale it. Okay, let's see if we can see it. Start. Right, we're gonna hit complete and let's see what it's done. Yeah, I mean, that looks amazing. I think it's really struggled with this one, to be fair, so let's do the fusion. Let's see what we can get from this. Okay, no, that's all right. That's actually not looking too bad. There's a few gaps. Remove noise. Let's try this one. It wasn't actually that good. Now, what would be interesting? Right, so that gets rid of all the junk, which is nice. And then what I was thinking was that I could probably draw around it like this, flip that, and then do delete. Yep, that gets rid of all the extra stuff we don't need. Delete that, get rid of that. There we go. I think I could probably get a better scan though still. But all right, we've got something here. So let's do check for overlaps. There we go. And then we'll do mesh, high quality, go. Right, so that's what that has given us. So you might be looking at it thinking, yeah, it's rubbish. To be fair, it's quite there. This is what I'm talking about when I say about a difficult model to scan. And yeah, my thinking is if I can get those bits there correct, then that will be all good. Okay, so we've had our first attempt at it. It hasn't come out great, but I'm convinced that it's there. I've just got to tweak a little bit. So I'm going to mess around with the settings and have another go. Okay, I've had a little bit of a play. I've now managed to get it to scan pretty well. Let's hop in there and have a look. It is actually pretty decent. And the way I managed to do it was a combination of, making sure the powder was uniform on the object, and during the fusion stage, just increasing it slightly, and with the mesh, just making sure the quality was really maxed out. That's come out quite well. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to draw around it, and then we will invert like that, and then we'll press delete. That gets rid of a load of stuff. I suspect there probably is a better way of doing this, but this is what I've found to do so far. So that's now actually not bad at all. And it's, yeah, like I said, it's a little bit funky down here. Again, I still think I could do better with it if I keep trying. Just to reiterate one more time, there's a bit of a skill involved. You've got to practice and you've got to get better at it. It doesn't come just for free. And then I can come into here. This is in Fusion 360, insert a mesh, rotate it like so. Gonna need a little bit of tweaking. Now let's have a look. Yeah, we do have these breaks here, which is a real shame because everything else is pretty good. It's just that one little area that is not very good. Everything else is good. Ah, that's such a shame. So this is now my mission. That is so close. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna have a little play. I'm gonna keep working on it until I get that exactly right. And it might be something to do with the lighting in here I need to adjust. There'll be something that I can tweak that will get this perfectly on there. So I'm going to do it. But it's getting late now, so I might have to do it tomorrow. Hello, and we're back again. So it's a new day. I've had a little play this morning. It's all kind of coming together now. I've figured out some really interesting things. I think I've made some good progress so far. So I went out and I had another go at scanning the strut mount for the suspension on the car to see if I could get a better scan. And as you can see, that came up really well. And then obviously yesterday when I was sending the files, I was sending them via Dropbox, bit of a pain. I then discovered this feature, which is really quite cool. So in here, if we go to the project and do share, if we actually choose Revo Scan 5, it doesn't matter that I'm actually using Metro up on the PC here. I can basically come in here and do scan QR code. And then on this, I go File, Import from Phone, Scan QR code. So give it a bit of a scan. And what you can see is it's now transferring directly from the phone up to the PC, and it's an awful lot quicker than my upload speed doing it before. So it's going direct, and it's going over the Wi-Fi, and boom, there it is. So we can now see this is the file that I've just scanned, and there we go. That is now
sort of ready to go. I can export that and use that as the template. Like I said, it was very difficult to actually scan just because the bonnet was in the way. If I could have taken the bonnet off, I would have had a much easier time of it. But the important bit is this outline here. So as long as we've got that shape there, that we would be able to match with our 3D model, and we can design our own new cap. We also have this little hook has come out really, really well, so we would mirror that across to the other side. This would be a really good starting point from, frankly, a very awkward scan. That is doing it off the car. Now, in terms of the part itself, as I said, I had another go at doing this. The difference I made was I just made sure it was a lot more coated in the powder. And I raised it up a bit so that I started really low and level with it. I started down here, so that way, once it had done a couple of passes, I then very slowly kind of came up in this arc motion. And that gave me a really good coverage of the object. So I'll show you how that came out. That's after a little bit of processing in here. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that. That's really good. The only bit that's a slight issue is down here. You can just see there's kind of like this bulge where it just didn't get the detail down in those little gaps there. But again, that's fine. So I then exported this and I've now got it into Cinema 4D. This is a 3D modeling software. Now you don't have to do this step. I just did this to try and see if I could get the mesh a little bit lower in terms of poly count. There's a whole world about geometry and the level of detail and so on, which I don't want to go too much into detail here now. But obviously when you scan an object, it gives you a very, very high poly object. If you bring this into something like Fusion 360 to manipulate it, it doesn't like it when it's too big. So one thing that I quite like to do is put it into Cinema 4D first and see if I can just reduce it. Now you don't have to do this. It's just something that I've tended to do, because you can then end up with something like this, which is, you know, pretty close to being about right. I might just up this just a touch more. I'm gonna give it, let's say I'm gonna give it 8,000. And there we go. So yeah, see, that's looking pretty good. It's not completely horrific geometry. So let's now export this one as an STL. Now this is the original one straight out of Revopoint into Fusion 360. And this is what I mean. You can see all these tiny little details. These are all individual triangles. So there is a huge amount of detail inside this object. To be fair, I'm not quite sure why, but the PC is really struggling with it. It's probably just I've got too many things open. What I'm gonna do though, is I'm gonna delete this one. I've imported in the new one, and as you can see, there's a lot less detail here. This one is running beautifully again. Okay, great. Now, I am going to do modify and convert to mesh. That is now a solid. We can now do things with this, which is obviously what the idea is. I need to fix these little clips. So what I'm thinking to do here is we make a surface here, and we will extrude up and and there we go. Now don't get me wrong, that was super quick and dirty. I've literally just added 2 tabs on there, and I have cut the sides out and smoothed the bottom up, and that is it. Now, if you want to do it properly, you spend time and you mold it and you make it nice. I'm in a hurry here. I kind of just want my part, and I want to get it printed, get it on the car, and see if it actually works as a process. That's the important bit here. So now that we've got that, we can actually do this export as saved, and we can do to Bamboo. So what I'm actually gonna do now is put it into the slicer for the 3D printer. Then I'm gonna print it. Now, officially, if I was doing this for something in an engine bay, I would use a filament like PETG or ASA or ABS, because that's got really good heat tolerance. But again, for speed and just because it's what's already set up on the printer, I'm gonna print it in PLA. I wouldn't use this if I was actually going to keep this piece in the engine bay, because it would likely melt. Just as a note. That is how our piece now looks like in Fusion. It looks remarkably like the original piece, except that these tabs obviously are fixed, and we're just gonna press slice. And this is telling me it's gonna take 50 minutes. And yeah, that looks absolutely fine. Let's send that to the printer, which is already on and good to go. And let's see how that comes out. There it is on the print bed. Looks like it could be all right. A little bit of tweaking possibly still, but okay.
that is now done. And here we have the two pieces. So this is the original one, which as you can see has the broken clips. And then this is the replacement with my somewhat ropey, but should work replacement clips. And as you can see, they're pretty much like for like, and I really didn't have to do a huge amount of work in order to get to this point. Just a few attempts to get a good scan of this and a bit of the powder on it just to help it be able to see it, obviously because it's black, so it's harder to see. And yeah, that has come out really quite well. So now the next thing to do is get this on the car and see, does it fit? Does it go exactly like I was expecting it to? Absolutely, typically, it's just started raining. Okay, so I have my two pieces. This is the original, this is the 3D printed one. It's gonna go just on here. And if all is good, this will clip on there nicely. Which it does, perfect, job's a good one. It now fits, I've repaired a part, and it was just a little bit of effort, easy. I have to admit, I wasn't actually expecting that to work first time, but that is on there, that's clipped in nicely. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So that is absolutely perfect first time. And that should give you a kind of idea of the sort of applications you've got. So I scanned both sides. So I scanned the replacement part because I was lucky enough to have it, but I also scanned the area, and I could have built that replacement part myself in my own design, just using the footprint of the strut mount area. Again, you know, just to reiterate, these all take skill and things to learn, and it is really interesting how far this has come. Like this did a really good job once I've got the environment correct, once I've got the setup and everything right. You know, there's a bit to learn about the software. Revopoint do their own version of a CAD, so I use Fusion 360, and obviously you saw me, I used Cinema 4D in between. Again, that's quite rare. That's just because I've been using Cinema 4D for 3D modeling for years, so it just so happens that's one I know really well. But there's a ton out there, you don't have to use that. They also have some other bits and pieces like Revo Mirror, so that you can actually mirror the image that's being scanned onto another PC as you're doing it, or a screen or an iPad or whatever. So there's lots of really cool ways to go about all of this, and it's a good bit of kit, very small, very portable, feels good. Again, there's still so much that I could do in terms of scanning different objects and different tests and so on, but I've tried to cover a couple of like useful things today. Obviously the first was the artist dummy, just because, you know, that was an easy way to find out how it all works. Then the practical use of repairing a car part using it, you know, which I think is brilliant. I love that idea. I would do that over going and buying the spare part any day. So even though this did work and it did the job for this test, I'm actually going to refine the model. I'm going to spend a little bit more time inside the model and make it, you know, that little bit better. And then I'm going to print them in a nice color PETG, possibly a red, so that they sit striking against the white paintwork. And then I'll replace both sides so that they both match. That'll be kind of my own little piece that I made for the car, which is, I love all of this sort of stuff. And I'll also be hunting around the car to see if there's anywhere else that I can do sort of similar things. Okay, all right, I couldn't just leave it there. I've gone ahead, removed, that's the other good one off the other side. And as you can see, it's all still perfect because I removed it properly. And then I have redesigned red ones. Some people might not like it, but there is already a touch of red. There's some red here and there. My seatbelts are red. Yeah, actually, that should look all right, I think. But I added the Mercedes symbol onto the top there, and I fixed up the little loops there, so that a much better construction than the previous one. So now all that's left is to put them on. Now I know that's not to everyone's taste, but I think it looks quite good, and it was a good repair and easy to do. So that is why I think this is actually a really good little scanner, and why that's really, really handy. I'm quite impressed. It's rather good. Now, as I mentioned before, Revopoint did send me this to have a play with, so massive shout out to them. They've sent me a ton of scanners over the years, and each time they've just got that little bit better. It's really good to see how they're coming along. They've got some nice consumer grade scanners, but they've also got some really nice pro grade scanners. I have to admit, I would love to have a play with those. But for now, if you're interested in this one, head off into my description and you will find a link to it, as well as some links to some other stuff that I've mentioned during the video. And of course, please feel free to fill the comment section with your questions. I'm more than happy to come back and answer anything that I'm able to. And I think that will just about do it for this video. So, as always, thanks again for watching, and bye for now.